arts. For centuries, countries have praised the arts as the peak of civilization. Paintings, sculptures, architecture, music, theater. These various categories have their own time periods that make the rich and famous swoon. Americans have their own art. The art of warfare! Not that Americans can't appreciate music, paintings, and statues, but something rather unique to us is how much we like to watch stuff blow up. And for this video, we'll get into the 10 iconic American rifles, ordered by the years they were made. Also known as the Kentucky rifle, or the Pennsylvania rifle, the American long rifle was one of the first American rifles made. Heck, it's what helped make America become America. The American long rifle was originally used by American pioneers for hunting, but when the Revolution broke out, it was used to fight against the British for freedom. One of the reasons it became so loved was because militaries were using smoothbore guns, which had poor accuracy and range, but since everyone still fought the civilized way, by forming ranks, you were still likely to hit someone, even if it wasn't the person you were aiming at. The American long rifle, however, was rifled, which basically means it spins the bullet very, very tightly, which not only gives it superior accuracy, but also a range of 300 yards. What's the range for those smoothbores? Typically not more than 150 yards, before accuracy was completely gone. The Spencer repeating rifle was usually carried by U.S. cavalry during the war between the states and held 7 rounds. It took the inventor over 3 years to perfect and was ordered to be purchased for use by the U.S. Army by President Abraham Lincoln after he had a shooting match with the inventor and then lost. Although it did take time before it was adopted, it found its way into the Battle of Gettysburg and was even carried by John Wilkes Booth after he shot and killed President Lincoln. Without the 1860 Henry rifle, modern rifles probably wouldn't be as awesome as they are today. It was a breech-load, lever-action rifle that could hold up to 16 rounds, which was unheard of during the time, as many rifles at the time had to be reloaded after every shot. They were too fragile for the Union armies to buy them in bulk, but plenty of Union soldiers would save up enough money to get one, because who doesn't want to keep right on firing? In fact, the Confederate armies were known to curse them as the rifles you could load on Sunday and fire all week. In fact, without this rifle, we wouldn't have our next iconic American rifle. No cowboy movie would be quite right without the Winchester 1873 lever-action rifle being on screen, and few cowboys in real life would want to be without one. Based off the 1860 Henry rifle, it came in 3 different sizes, which could fire 3 different rounds. They were originally made from iron, and then later made of steel, which made it both stronger and lighter. Its lever action also made it extremely fast to fire, as it added what's referred to as a toggle link, which would pull the hammer back at the same time you were ejecting the last cartridge and inserting the new one. Would John Wayne really be able to pull off his famous scene from True Grit without it?
Fill your hand, you son of a bitch!
It's doubtful, which is likely why this gun is referred to as the gun that won the West. Also referred to as the M1903, the Springfield Model 1903 was a bolt-action rifle that had a new thing our previous rifles didn't, a clip that could hold 5 rounds. This allowed for a quicker reload of the rifle, as the previous 3 rifles we talked about would have to reload all of their rounds one by one, as opposed to slapping in a new magazine or clip. It was invented after U.S. forces took a bit of a pounding during the Spanish-American War, and we don't care to be hurting like that. It saw combat during the Reign of Terror conducted by Pancho Villa, but really came to the forefront during World War I. It saw a lot of modifications over the years, with anything from different kinds of sights to different kinds of magazines, but it carried through the Vietnam conflict when it was finally put to rest, at least officially. Few guns are quite as iconic as the Thompson machine gun, often referred to as the Tommy gun. This gun was often found in the hands of gangsters protecting their turf on the East Coast, and had different magazine types and sizes, to include the famous 100-round drum magazine. It saw action during World War II and was fully automatic, which was a design spec when it was being drawn up during World War I, as the inventor wanted it to be a one-man handheld machine gun, since machine guns at the time had to be mounted on bipods. It also used 45 rounds, which would definitely send you to the ground if it doesn't outright kill you. The most famous gun used in World War II, the M1 Garand had an 8-round clip that was loaded into the top of the weapon, fed into the internal magazine, and then the clip ejected when the last round was free. A favorite of U.S. troops, it was dubbed the greatest battle implement ever devised by General George S. Patton, who was known for his love of war and tanks. Sounds like an expert to me. One of the things that made it so handy was that it replaced lever action and bolt action without going fully auto, which is why it's referred to as semi-auto. This allowed you to fire almost as fast as a machine gun, without having to worry about the spread machine guns usually give you from firing at such a fast rate. While technically not a rifle, the Remington 870 is the most popular shotgun to date. This 7-round, 12-gauge, pump-action bad boy is what most people think about when people talk about shotguns. Not only is it used by military members and law enforcement, but many use it for hunting, as well as a home defense weapon. Plenty of robbers and bad boyfriends have found themselves on the wrong end of this weapon and know to run when they hear that famous cocking sound. No modern American gun owner wants to be without his AR-15, which was originally designed by Armalite for the U.S. military. Although the military eventually replaced it with the M16, which is still in use today, the AR-15 was redeveloped into a civilian model. Both the AR-15 and the M16 are fairly moddable on the spot, whether that be switching sight types, like with a new scope, or adding a grenade launcher. It also uses a switch action, which allows the fire to switch from safe to semi-auto, to either a full auto or a 3-round burst while you're using military models. Also referred to as the M107, the Barrett M82 is a favorite of snipers, and for good reason. Shots have been recorded at over 2 miles with this bad boy, and its 50 caliber round makes sure that whoever is hit by it is either dead or about to be. It's actually designed to be anti-material, which doesn't mean hitting somebody behind plywood. It means it was designed to go after trucks and even tanks when using explosive rounds, which is not allowed for use against personnel as it's considered inhumane. Since a regular 50 round is still going to leave behind a bloody mess, we're not really complaining, unless you happen to miraculously survive getting hit by one of these. These are 10 of the most iconic American rifles out there. Think you have one that should have made the list? Feel free to add it to the comments below, and maybe we'll have a round 2.